I stood in the shadows of my own truth, telling lies to everyone, including you, because facing my own desires felt like stepping into a fire. The heat was too much to bear, yet somehow I kept running, hoping I could outrun myself. Lying became my shield, my way of hiding from a truth that was far too raw to confront. The deepest part of me was tangled in desires I couldn't bring myself to voice. And so I built a wall of falsehoods to protect the fragile parts I feared exposing. In the chaos of my mind, I told you stories, painted pictures of who I wanted to be, but deep inside, I was only lying to myself. The real me, the one wrapped in desire, was something I couldn't bear to face. Not then, not now. I hid behind my own lies, pretending to be someone I wasn't, because the truth was too painful. The truth was that I longed for something that made no sense, that tore at my soul, and I couldn't let you see that. It was easier to lie. The greatest lie I told was to myself, convincing myself that I was in control. In truth, I was afraid of what my heart truly craved, and the fear of facing those desires kept me wrapped in a veil of deception. In the moments when silence filled the space between us, I told myself that the lies were just temporary, that they would protect you from the mess I carried inside. But every word I spoke, every lie I told, chipped away at my own soul. I convinced myself that the truth was too dangerous to share, that it would destroy everything if I let my desires spill into the open. So I crafted a version of reality that felt safe, even though it was built on sand. I lied to you because I was scared of what my desires said about me. I was afraid of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface, and I thought if I kept pretending, it would eventually go away. But it didn't. The lies I told weren't just to protect you, they were to protect me from myself, because facing the desires that burned within me meant facing the parts of myself I wasn't ready to accept. In my heart, there was always a battle between what I wanted and what I thought I should want. The lies I told you were just a reflection of the war raging inside me, the desire that I couldn't face, let alone admit. I wanted to be honest. I wanted to reveal everything, but I couldn't. The thought of revealing my deepest desires to you terrified me, so I hid them behind lies, hoping that the truth would somehow lose its power if I ignored it long enough. Each lie I told was a way to avoid facing the truth within me, a truth I was too scared to acknowledge, let alone share. The desire inside me felt like a storm, and I wasn't ready to face the consequences of letting it out. I told myself that if I kept pretending, if I kept lying, I would eventually find the peace I was looking for. But each lie only deepened my confusion, and the desires I tried to bury began to consume me. You deserved my honesty, but I couldn't give it to you. I couldn't even give it to myself. The weight of my desires felt too heavy to carry, nay, so I lied, thinking I could outrun the truth. But truth has a way of catching up. I wanted so badly to be the person you saw, to live up to the image I created in your mind. But the deeper I dug into my own heart, the more I realized that the truth I was hiding was a part of me I didn't know how to face. The lies I told weren't malicious. They were born out of fear. Fear of my own desires. Fear of what it would mean if I admitted them, both to myself and to you. I told myself that lying was the easier path, but in truth, it was a prison. Every false word I spoke kept me locked in a cage, unable to reach the freedom of living authentically with my desires. It's easier to lie than to confront the rawness of desire. It's easier to pretend that everything is fine than to face the parts of ourselves that seem so complicated, so messy, so impossible to understand. I convinced myself that by lying, I was protecting both you and me, but in reality, I was only protecting the version of myself I thought you wanted to see, not the real, flawed person who was struggling with unspoken desires. What I couldn't understand then, and what I'm still coming to terms with now, is that lying to you was never going to save me from myself. The truth is always louder than any lie we tell. I thought the lies would protect us from the uncomfortable truth, but all they did was build walls between us. The truth, though difficult, would have brought us closer. The lies only kept us apart. Desire is a powerful thing, and when you're afraid of what it might mean, it's easy to hide behind lies. But no matter how hard I tried to deny it, that desire always found its way to the surface. The hardest part of being honest with you is the fear of being rejected for the desires I've kept hidden. But lying to you only creates more distance, and it's a distance I don't want between us anymore. I lied because I didn't know how to handle the weight of my own desires. I didn't understand them, and I was too afraid of what they might mean, so I hid them away, pretending they didn't exist. Every lie I told was an attempt to avoid the truth that I feared would tear everything apart. But the truth has a way of creeping in, no matter how much we try to hide it. In lying to you, I was only lying to myself. I thought I could protect you from the storm inside me, but all I did was create more chaos. The truth, however painful, is the only way to find peace. The desire within me wasn't something I could run from forever. It's always there, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the moment when I can finally admit it to both you and myself. I lied because I was ashamed of the desires I couldn't control, the ones I didn't understand, and the fear that if I let them out, they would change everything between us. Lying was my way of avoiding vulnerability. I was terrified of what would happen if I truly opened up and revealed the desires that had been quietly shaping every thought and feeling. In every lie, I buried a part of myself that was too afraid to be seen. Each lie was a shield I hoped would protect me, but in truth, it only kept me in the dark about my own desires. I wanted to be everything you needed me to be, but in doing so, I lost touch with who I really was. The desires I hid became a part of me I couldn't escape, no matter how many lies I told. I told lies to protect you from the reality of my desires, but I didn't realize that in doing so, I was hurting both of us. The truth, no matter how difficult, would have been the only way to set us free. I thought I could outrun my desires, thought I could lie my way out of feeling them. But the heart has a way of speaking louder than any words we say. The truth was always there, waiting to be acknowledged. The lies I told you were never about you. They were about me. I couldn't face the desires I carried inside, the ones that scared me, the ones I thought would make me unlovable. I lied because I thought I had to be perfect for you. I thought I couldn't show you the messy, complicated truth of who I am. But now I realize that showing my true self is the only way to truly be seen. The lies I told weren't to hurt you. They were to protect me from the parts of myself I was too afraid to confront. But hiding behind lies only created more pain. And I know now that honesty is the only way forward. I lied because I couldn't bear the thought of you seeing me as weak, as someone who couldn't control their desires. But the truth is, we are all human, and we all have desires that shape who we are. I kept telling myself that the lies were harmless, that they were a way of protecting us. But the more I lied, the more I realized that the truth would have brought us closer, not torn us apart. I wanted to share everything with you, but I was afraid of how you'd see me if I revealed my deepest desires. I thought they would change the way you felt about me, and I couldn't bear the thought of that. I thought that by hiding my desires, I could avoid the confusion, the guilt, and the shame. But the truth is, the only way to heal is to face those desires head on, with honesty and vulnerability. Every lie I told was a way to avoid the discomfort of facing my desires. but avoiding them only made them more powerful until they consumed every thought, every action. I didn't know how to make sense of my desires, so I hid them in lies, hoping they would disappear, but they never did. They only grew louder, more impossible to ignore. The lies I told were a way of trying to control the uncontrollable. I thought I could keep my desires in check, but the more I tried to suppress them, the more they took hold. I lied because I was afraid of the consequences of facing my own desires. I thought that if I kept pretending, everything would stay the same, but in reality, the truth was always there, just waiting for the right moment to come out. The fear of rejection, of being misunderstood, kept me trapped in a cycle of lies. But now I realize that only by embracing my truth, my desires, can I truly be free. I lied to protect myself from the judgment I thought I'd face if I revealed my desires. But in doing so, I only created more shame, more fear, and more distance between us. Every lie I told was a way to avoid the deep, uncomfortable truth about myself. But now I know that facing that truth is the only way to truly be at peace with who I am. Lying was my way of pretending that I didn't want what I truly did. It was easier to suppress my desires than to face the reality of what they meant. I lied because I didn't know how to explain the desires that were so deeply embedded in me. They felt like a part of me I could never fully understand, and so I kept them hidden away.